Hello everyone, welcome back to the KMTRADERS channel. This is the full market analysis volume 42, the first video of 2021. So guys, I do hope you have enjoyed your rest for the Christmas holidays, enjoyed your break. Now it's time to get back into full motion with the trades. So without further ado, I'm going to go through all of the pairs and just give a run through what we're thinking for next week, guys. So starting off with gold, I am waiting for a drop to the downside. I am waiting to target into 1760. I'm also looking at this downtrend here as well. So in relation to our annotations, I'm going to move some things around. So what we can see here is, price is slowly stepping up. We are coming into the point of our downtrend. Now, if we could get a break to the upside, that might be something to note, but I think that we could have a push to the downside. And I am waiting for that. So we could also expect price to push up and potentially break this downtrend, which is on a higher time frame, and that can take out some immediate sellers or buyers into the market. And then we could see a reversal. So I am expecting a reversal, whether it is immediately after market open, or if we have to wait and see price come up a bit further, something like that. But yeah, I'm trying to look out for price to move to the downside, and I'm going to still stay below, still look for a sell-off opportunity as long as we stay below this zone here. So we do have all this room up here to as a compromise to look into. So price obviously couldn't make its way all the way up here and then turn to the downside. So that's where I'm looking at for gold. Moving on to Euro USD. So this one, as we've been seeing through the holidays, it's making its way to the upside, still creeping up. So what I'm noticing here is we could be at the start of the pullback to the downside as we've broken this uptrend here. So in terms of this, I am looking for price to make its way significantly to the downside, but not so much. We could be potentially targeting 1.2 to look at a retest, but I'm not really I'm not going to put my my TP at this exact level. It's just a potential target, but the main move is towards the upside. So that's where I'll be focusing my attention. But we could see price make its way to the downside and then pump back up, and it should be able to break the new highs here. So as we were looking at 1.23, as we've already met this target, we could be looking at 1.24 as our next target. So I'm just going to put this as the minimum zone of our minimum target. So if price is able to come down to this low, it's around 150 pips potentially, but then towards the upside we could see 250 pips more. So it depends what you want to do. If you want to counter trend trade or if you want to go with the trend, again, it's totally up to you. Moving on to NZD USD. Again, this one is looking, it has been creeping up towards the upside during the holidays. I am waiting for the drop off to the downside. So if we can make some alterations here and it just simply take this and extend it as such, we can see that we've got a different range now. So again, I am waiting for this drop, so it could be at any point into the market. I am waiting for price to come into this zone potentially, so roughly at 0.69. And this drop could happen at any point within this area here. So as long as we still follow these use this as a channel, use the channel as a rough guideline, we could make a good estimation of when to call the sell-off. So it could happen between any point around here. So I'm just going to leave it on this dotted line here, so you know roughly where I'm looking to head into. So I'm looking for a sell-off. So we could see we could see a possible push to the upside and then a push to the downside, but again, it really just depends upon the motion of the market. But I am looking out for that momentum before I get in that sell. So just keep that in perspective when looking for a sell. So moving on to AUD USD. I am looking for another sell with this pair again. So if we just extend this trend line, as you can see, I am connecting the very points to the wick. So I know a few traders who alter their trend lines to the bodies. I mean, it's perfectly fine. It's still it's still valid. It kind of still works out. But again, it's totally um, your preference. But I am looking for price to make its way to the downside at some point. So keeping an eye out for this pair. I don't think it's anytime soon, but if we do see a price move to the downside, I am looking to target roughly around this zone here. So around 0.74. So it's a good confluence to see if we can get into this level here. So I'm waiting for a drop, so that's roughly around 300 pips. So again, that's where my head's at with that pair. Moving on to USD JPY. I've been following this one for a long time now, and I'm waiting for this big push to the upside. Whether it happens, immediately after the market opens, for this year, it has to be have to look at the open really because of the momentum, etc. But essentially, we could see a possibility of price pushing this low. This is where this annotation has come from. So whether we get this soon, or if we can get a push towards the upside, then it's just really, it depends again what happens. So for this one, I don't really want to talk so much about it because I'm not entirely too sure just yet. But all I know is that I want to see price take out this low here. If that doesn't happen and we do get a huge momentum to clear out these levels and these higher highs, these lower highs, then we'll update the video and we can obviously talk about continuations to the upside. So I think we are capable of pushing higher. Again, it's just a matter of when. But yeah, that's my long-term projection, and I am looking to target 105.6. So we'll just have to keep an eye out for UJ over the next few days or so. Looking at CAD JPY, I am looking out for a continuation to the upside. So we can see how prices, during the December break, we've had price break this uptrend. I think we are still in full motion and full capability of pushing higher. If we look again at this trend, we can this is why we have to take trend lines with a pinch of salt sometimes, that we have to understand where the bigger picture is and the bigger momentum is. So I'm thinking that price could make its way towards the upside. We may get a little downfall move, but ultimately I want to see price come up and reach into this zone here roughly. That's roughly where we could see a long-term target. But again, remember, when I talk about these long-term targets, make sure you're taking partial profits. You don't always, our targets don't always necessarily meet. But again, leaving a few hundred pips on the table is worth taking partial. So at some point this could all reverse and you've lost 300 or 200 or 100 pips, etc. So again, just make sure you trail your stop loss as much as you can. If you get stopped out, you get stopped out. Don't worry, move on to the next trade. That's all I want to say. But yeah, looking out for the push to the upside, and I think we still have the capability of pushing higher. If we look at Euro JPY, UJ, I'm still looking for an upside move here. So if we take alter these annotations here, I'm still thinking that we could see price push higher. And I'm looking to take out this high here. Quite ironically, we could be pushing into and retesting this zone here. So 127. So there is some sensitivity at 127. So we'll see if price can make its way back up and potentially take out that prior high, and then we can look at then the next thing to do is to look at how price reacts. If we get a clear break and strong push, then we could be looking to hold this trade. But if not, we could be looking to take a push to the downside. So something as simple as that we could be looking out for. So again, this is where we could see price move into in the future, more towards the downside. But I first want to see if price can still push higher. The other thing as well is I'm looking at divergence into the market. So there is a potential that price is capable to push lower. That's why I'm looking at this move to the downside. But if we're able to make one more push to the upside because of how oversold this is, so we could have one more momentum push to the upside. So that's what I'm thinking with that. Looking at NZD JPY, remember this box that we've drawn here, how price was able to push lower, grab some buyers and then push it higher. So if we get rid of this now, take rid of alteration. So if we extend this trend line, push it into this level, get rid of our drawing. So what I'm thinking about for this is I am waiting for this drop now. I think we've had that little push to the downside that I was looking for. So again, I am waiting for a potential sell opportunity, whether it is now or if we have a bit of a push to the upside, which I think is most likely capable of doing. So something like this and then a drop to the downside. That would be something to keep a watch for. Again, we're going to be looking at this uptrend here as a key point of indication for a switch in momentum. So that's going to be my indicator to take on a sell. Looking at AUD JPY, I am again looking at a sell opportunity here too. So we can see that we've had price moving up and very steadily. So that's why I'm thinking that price is capable of pushing lower. Not only that, if we take a look at the RSI, we should see some point of a weakness or divergence, and we slowly are getting some little divergence here. And as you can see, prices, the peaks, the peak on the price chart is different to the peaks onto the RSI. So that's how you discover some divergence into play. And again, that simply just comes down to the motion of the market. So I am looking at price to come down and take out some of this price action here, and I could be looking at 77 potentially as a nice psychological number, and then ultimately I want to see price come back into 80 on the dot, because I think that's a higher psychological number. And again, this level in the market could be tested, so I think something as that in the future. But for now, I just want to focus on the downfall and see how much we can get in terms of a sell-off momentum. So yeah, just keep an eye out for that. And coming to the last two pairs now, guys. So USD Chef. Got a lot of things to cover left, but looking at USD Chef. What I am looking out for here is that push into the market to the upside. So we have been looking out for this here. I thought this was the move, but we haven't necessarily tested 0.9 just yet. So I still think we are we still have a capability of pushing lower than this prior low here. So we're roughly at 0.88 right now. So what I'm thinking is if we're able to push into this zone here potentially, or at 0.9, we could look at a sell-off opportunity within this level or around this area for then price to take out the prior low, which is what I was looking out for last week, which obviously that didn't exactly happen, but we could be looking to take out this and then push up higher. So we could be looking at 0.875 as a nice psychological level to look at, and see how price reacts to it, and then we could see a momentum kick to the upside. and then that could spring us to, you know, that push to 0.93. So that's where we could be looking at in the future. But for now, I just want to see this bullish momentum because it is looking quite strong. Looking at divergence as well, we do have it very clearly. So we could see a good play towards the upside. So if we take a look, so it's about 100 or it's about just under 200 pips there. So, you know, there is a good strong capability that we could have a good push to the upside. So yeah, that's where my head's at with that pair. And finally, guys, USD CAD. We are looking out for some moves to the upside still. So my key takeaway from this for this well, from the holidays is the momentum towards the upside has now you know, been trailing off to the downside. So what I'm thinking is if price is able to, you know, still push higher, I think we could still get in on the market and potentially take a target towards 1.31. And again, this could have been again a missed trade here. So there's no problem with that at all. Don't worry about that. What the thing we could look at is just the retest. So that's what I'm going to be looking at. We could get a retest on the lower time frames. So what I will be looking out for first is if price can get into 1.31 and then wait for the retest. So we could get a retest on any of these zones here. The one thing that I could be looking at is 1.29 as a nice psychological level in between these two levels. So again, this is just a guess, but for now, I just want to see if we're able to push into 1.31. And again, that's where we could see USD CAD push into. So again, that's all for this week. Again, this is just the beginning of the year. So, you know, I don't expect myself to be trading so aggressively just as January opens. I think we could potentially see moves gradually increase with momentum as we go throughout the days in the year. So, you know, we could see more price action moves within the second week or, you know, mid-month of January, just to get the full swing of, you know, the banks coming back from their holidays. You know, again, it's just really thinking about where the real market players are. So again, these guys are the banks and the bigger people. So those are the ones who are going to be moving their money. So again, it really just depends if the banks for this year are really on point, if they're really, you know, trying to move aggressive. Again, that's how the market's going to flow. So if they're aggressive, then the market's going to be aggressive. Therefore, we can trade more again, and it's vice versa. So, yeah, we'll carry on with things. And again, I do hope you have had, you know, you've enjoyed your Christmas holidays and, you know, a good start to the new year. You know, prepared well, you know, brushed up on your own trading technique and everything. But yeah, guys, I do appreciate your time for watching these videos. And of course, if you made it all the way to the end of the video, make sure you're subscribed. Leave your thoughts and any comments or questions you do have in the comment section below. I'll happily read them and get back to you as soon as I can. Again, guys, if you do want any other questions answering, feel free to join our trading group. Link is in the description. And of course, follow our Instagram too. So thank you very much for listening, guys, and we'll see you all in the next week.